about different aspects of that sort of thing. Chapter 23. There is, by the way, I told you, a proof text called the Testimonium in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which are a catalog of the promises to the seed of David, in which God says to David in one of the proof texts, "You are my son." And I don't have that text in front of me, but look in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Testimonium, and you'll see that text, the promises to the seed of David. So the Dead Sea Scrolls are very Davidically and messianically oriented, despite what some people think. Chapter 23, and Matthew is always more detailed here. The scribes and the Pharisees come and want them to do works and so on, and Jesus objects. The doing the works righteousness, they put heavy burdens on you, you see. Then they have phylacteries, and this is how Jews would have been perceived not only in Rome, but also in Poland during the Holocaust. And the borders of the garments, and they love the chief place at feasts. So all these people are just big fakes who just want to sit in front of in the feasts and show off their phylacteries and their prayer shawls. But you should not be called rabbi, for one of you is a teacher and all of you are brothers. So you shouldn't call rabbi means my master. I have to look in the Greek if it's rabbi there. I think anyway, again, attack on calling people teachers. Line 13, Pharisees, hypocrites. Here's the hypocrite material again. The blind guides, the hypocrites. 23 again. Woe, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. So this is a big woe section. Only in Matthew, not parallel in the other. But this is all very interesting, this whole section. But it picks up from the Pharisees as blind guides earlier. And there it is, line 16. Woe unto you, blind guides. Remember the blind guides? Every plant which my Father has not planted shall be uprooted. And the blind leading the blind, and the Pharisees are the blind guides. I don't have to go back to that, but you'll find it earlier in the Matthew material on the toilet bowl material. So this is really a huge attack on Pharisees as blind guides. And I've told you that section in the Damascus document which said, "And he caused the root of planting to grow, to inherit the good things of the earth, and they were as blind men searching for the way, and he raised up for them a teacher of righteousness to guide them in the way of his heart." So there is the guide language, the blind language connected to the to planting a root of planting in a messianic manner at the beginning of the Damascus document. We should always refer back to that. Here, I guess the blind becomes the central theme here. By the way, the blind were barred from the temple, along with lepers and other people with physical blemishes and imperfections. It's not nice. I'm not saying they should have done that, but the Hellenizing materials here make a lot out of that, supporting the blind and the lepers and so on and so forth. Whether people in Rome really did support these people or not, I'm not at liberty to say. But the point was to embarrass the Jews over those strictures, because the point was that the blind couldn't see in order not to fall into impurity. So if you let them into the temple, they might in some manner impinge upon the purity of the temple. I'm not for this kind of thing, but I'm just telling you that was what the ideology was, good or bad. And the same thing in the war scroll from Qumran: no blind, lame person with a sexual emission, etc., was to join the holy camps, because the holy camps were to be totally pure. Why were the holy camps in the wilderness? I know it's crazy, but that's what they thought. Why were the holy camps in the wilderness to be perfectly pure? Because the holy angels were going to join them in the camps. Well, that's totally crazy, I admit, but that's what they thought. Why were the holy angels going to join them in their camps? Because the holy angels were going to carry on the final apocalyptic war against all evil with the holy pure people in the camps together to eradicate all evil from the earth. I know it's nuts, like Bin Laden or something, but it did inspire a lot of things in Islam, this literature. But that's what we're dealing with in terms of Palestinian zeal and extremism. Okay, so arguing against the blind cuts two ways. One, it's the usage at the beginning of the Damascus document. Two, it has to do with who were barred from the temple. And so now Jesus, and then the hypocrite language. The hypocrite language has to do with Galatians 2, where Paul calls Peter and Barnabas hypocrites. And of course, Pharisees, I told you here, is often a code name for the James party in early Christianity, insisting on the law and temple and purity regulations. And so Jesus says, blind Pharisee, cleanse first the inside of the cup of the platter, that the outside may become clean too. Oh, these are favorite sayings. You are like whitened sepulchres, and so on and so forth. Pharisees, hypocrites, ye build the sepulchres of the prophets and garnish the tombs of the righteous. That's true. The righteous were looked upon very highly. And so on. But you partook of the blood of the righteous. You are the sons of them that slew the prophets. There we go. The first accusation of slaying all the prophets. It's haunted the Jews everywhere throughout history. It pervades the Koran. Where's the first incidence of it? As I think I have mentioned, Thessalonians 2:15, where Paul says, and now you are, the Jews are persecuting you, my churches, the Jews who killed the Lord Messiah or something like that, and killed all the prophets too, and who are the enemies of the whole human race. Just read. That, I think, is the wellspring of the slaying all the prophets, because, you know, who did the Jews kill who were prophets? And I've said it over and over and over again. It's amazing how few they didn't kill. We've done it over and over. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Nathan, none of them killed. Elijah, Elisha, Eli, Samuel, none of them killed. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Amos, Micah, Hosea, where's the killing of all of the prophets? You see, that's the shameful thing. That actually the Jews hardly killed any prophets at all. Maybe there's some legend about Zechariah, who was supposedly killed between sanctuary and temple, and he speaks about Abel the righteous being killed by Cain. O Jerusalem, which killeth the prophets and stone those sent to her. Behold, your house is left desolate unto you, again after the fall. This is very harsh stuff. We all love it. But again, you have to evaluate it. What prophets did the Jews kill? I want to know what prophets the Jews killed, beside these little sort of almost unknowns. And Abel, Cain, Abel, going to blame Cain and Abel on the Jewish people? Are we going to blame Cain and Abel on the Jewish people? That's not